Hi everyone, welcome back to episode 14 of AgogeTV with me, your host Phil Leonard.
And I'm your host, Josh Summersgill.
On today's podcast, we have Tom Blay. Tom is head coach of one of the UK's longest standing and biggest affiliates, CrossFit 3D. He's known for putting up some awesome scores in the Open, and I think he finished top 30 this year, was it?
Yeah, I think it was 23rd, 24th.
I think.
Awesome.
I think. You know that off the don't I?
have that written down.
I don't want I think it was 23rd, I think.
I'll check in a minute.
Got it written on my fridge.
The screensaver on my phone, if that was mine.
Hey, I'd have it as a screensaver if it happened for one workout. Never mind. Never mind all five. Obviously, you competed on team at Filthy 150, and so you're currently one of the UK's fittest male athletes, I believe. I don't know. Yeah, big shout at that. Coming back from when we met you. So
yeah, man.
We've known Tom for quite a long time. He started out at CrossFit Warrington with us, like everybody, I think it seems. So Tom, tell us a bit more about how you got started with CrossFit and like your competitive aspirations, Open, Sanctionals. What's the plan from here?
Yeah, I mean, I started at CrossFit Warrington. My friend and my another coach at our gym, Phil, who I've known since I was about 2 years old. He introduced me to CrossFit. I'd had a really bad injury from football from years ago, and I'd had a bit of some surgery on my leg. And I brought that. I started MMA a few years later, and I couldn't fight anymore because of this injury. So I eventually got bored with gym stuff and just normal global gym. And Phil brought me to CrossFit Warrington, tried a few workouts, and just really, really enjoyed it. Loved it. Ended up changing jobs, and I had to move away from Warrington. So I eventually started at CrossFit 3D on Trafford Park, became a member. Then from there, I'd already done my level 1 when I was at CrossFit Warrington, and I did my level 2 before I even started coaching or shadowing. Started coaching and shadowing Danny Watson and Carl Steadman at 3D, and then eventually just quit work and started personal training. I think I quit work with three coaching hours at 3D and then 1 PT client who was training for free, and I was just like, I'm going for it. So just sacked it off and
Good man, that's how to do it.
cracked on.
Awesome.
So yeah, it's just escalated from there. I managed to build like a decent PT business for myself. I've built up a programming team as well, 15, 16 athletes who are currently programmed remotely for, and became head coach at 3D, which was a great honour. As far as competing goes, I love training. I absolutely love training. I love competing. And I've just managed to get a little bit better as the years go by. And yeah, competing at the Sanctional event in Ireland last year was absolutely amazing.
Yeah.
It's just great to compete at that level with athletes who are all around you, who are so much better, who've experienced much higher levels of competition and whatnot. It's just an amazing experience.
Yeah, to be honest, I watched some of Filthy 150, and like obviously kept my eye out for you and stuff. And it was like, to be honest, like one of the things that was good for me was just seeing people, you know. Do you know what I mean? You're like, wow, this is like it's the nice thing about the Sanctionals, isn't it? That you can sort of see everybody's level and where they're at, and then to cheer people on who you probably wouldn't have got to cheer on if it had just been a standard games or region.
Definitely, I think it's definitely more. It makes this higher level, this level of competition, this avenue into the CrossFit Games. It makes it more accessible for people because not everybody competes in every competition, because there are so many now. Apart from the ones, obviously, we're taking the scores from the Open, and even then, like you've got to enter the sanctional you want to do. Yeah. So it is cool because people who wouldn't get to regionals, like me, I didn't get, years ago, I wasn't at the level where I got to regionals. I've competed at that level of event.
Yeah.
So it is cool. I will be going well, obviously when we get out of isolation, but I will be going for individual comps as well. Right. Hopefully when I get a bit better, because I've tested a few of the workouts out from some of the sanctionals, and there's definitely like some weaker sanctionals that I think I could sneak my way in.
Yeah. I think it's about picking around your skill as well. Like you've got a big old engine, so you could defo like look at. I think like the Lowlands throwdown was one that's very engine based, and I think you'd like something like that you could potentially do.
Yeah, I think it was. I think it was the Norwegian one. I ended up doing a load of the events from the actual competition, and I know it's different when you do it in your gym and when you do it in a comp.
Yeah,
but I ended up like placing quite highly in a few of them, so I thought that might just be a good level for me. I mean, I'd probably go and get my ass handed to me or whatever because the guys there are really, really, really good. But still, like that was one that I thought I might be able to sneak away in. Whereas like strength in depth or, you know, any of the American ones or, you know, even something like French Throwdown, they're going to be really, really, really competitive because the more well-known comps that have been going for a long time anyway.
That's how you learn though, isn't it? That's how you get better. You start off with like, if you look at like the way they progress in America, where they've got like Division 1 football and they've got like Division 2 and all, and then they've got, you know what I mean? They've got so much going on. Like people progress through their levels of competition to get better, and I think that's part of the reason that the Americans are so competitive because they're used to doing that.
Yeah, they've had systems for other sports.
Yeah, they don't see it as a bad thing having to go and compete at your level and progress through it. Do you know what I mean?
No, it's never a bad thing, is it?
No, not at all.
Just if people like competing or not.
Yeah,
because competing in your gym is different than competing at a competition where you're getting judged properly.
Yeah, and like competing in your gym's like your safe space as well, innit? You know what I mean? It's like I can
using your favourite bar, favourite space on the rig.
That's it. That's definitely a big advantage. It's part of why the Open's nice and it's like good for new people to jump into the Open and stuff. You're like, right, yeah, because you can sort of go, yeah, you go in your little comfy zone over here and send it, and that's all you need to do. Do you know what I mean? Like, where as soon as you get out onto that competition floor, not that I've ever competed on like a sanctional level, but it's a whole different ball game, isn't it?
Yeah, and I think if you've done sports growing up, that really helps.
Yeah.
Like if you've done anything, like even playing football in high school or rugby in high school or whatever, I think that'll have a massive effect. Like just being able to go out there and compete and execute on the day, like do what you've trained to do, hit what you've hit in the gym or better. I think there's people who are really baby in the missus there. There's people who are really good at that, and then there's people who struggle for whatever reason, whether it's nerves or because of not competed enough in the life. Like I had a couple of MMA fights before I had a bad injury, and like I just know that whenever I do any sort of CrossFit workout or competition, nothing's going to be as bad as being really tired and getting punched in the face. Because at the minute, all I'm doing is just getting really tired.
I like it.
So actually, on that, would you say that? So in terms of like competition floor nerves and all like the emotions you get before competing, would you say that because you've done it through MMA, is it almost quite similar regardless of what you're doing? So obviously you've competed at MMA, you've competed at CrossFit at quite a high level. And competition nerves, regardless of the sport.
Yeah, there's still definitely some nerves there, and like I got a little bit nervous the other week. I had a 2K row in the back garden, and I was like, I knew what time I wanted. I knew how hard I'd have to push, and it's not necessarily like I'm afraid because it's going to hurt. That's not a problem. That's something I quite enjoy. It's just like, am I going to get the time? Am I going to execute my plan correctly? And then I think that's if you can get nervous about that sort of stuff, and it pushes you to hit the markers of time that you want or the amount of reps you want in a certain time, or I think if you can use it that way. But there are definitely nerves there. It's just a bit different, and I think one big difference is the relief, like getting out of finishing a cage fight, like actually finishing your opponent or winning. There's a lot of relief with that. Whereas with like a CrossFit competition, you've got 3 or 4 events in one day. It's like a sustained sort of like, okay, I'm competing. That was hard. Feel good now. Got it done. Did well. And then you have to level yourself back out again because you've got another one.
Do you know what? It's like, it's interesting that you say like, because I always find that like when at any competition I've ever done, by that fourth or fifth workout in a day, you kind of like sat there and you're just like, yeah, I'm done. Like, there's no like, do you know what I mean? There's that sustained level of effort is so. The first couple you could like snatch the earth and you feel great, and then you go out into that one, and even if it's like the last event of the day, you're just like, wow, I'm tired.
Mate, you could look at like the last week of the Open, and most people have pushed that hard. They're not used to going that hard once a week, and especially if they repeated that. By the time they get to the 5th week of the Open, a lot of people have either chinned it, dropped out, got injured, or they're just wrecked.
Yeah, agreed.
So that's a good point actually. On the last Open, didn't you put something on about how this is the first time you've basically gone one and done? Your focus was to enjoy it, and haven't you actually got your best overall placing from doing that?
Yeah, I mean, I feel that I'm fitter. I feel like I'm the best I've been. It's difficult to look at the Open and say this is my best Open ever, because the landscape's changed, hasn't it? Because it's like there's no regions anymore. It's just based off country. Based off country, the UK actually, it's definitely my best year. I think the year I did it, the last time I did it was, I think I did it in 2018. I had a really bad water infection in 2019. So when I did it in 2018, I think it was 50th or 49th. So I've gone up a few places, and it was at 23rd, 24th in 2020. So yeah.
No, I'm just being nosy.
Yeah, it has been my best Open, and like I said, like I'm just fitter. I felt like I didn't have to go again. There's no reason. Like even probably if I would have just completely messed something up, like fell off a box or whatever, fell off the bar or whatever, probably wouldn't have done it again anyway, because it's like a few seconds. And the main thing for me was just that I went hard on a Friday and had fun. I did it with my missus and my friends and some coaches at the gym, and it was just a good time on a Friday with the members.
Yeah, definitely.
Love it. I was just looking at some.
Love Friday. Love the Open on Friday nights with the members. It's the best. Like, usually, normally I'll get in like I normally do the Friday evenings, but normally I just get in early, like 9 to 10, and just stay there all day anyway in the gym.
Yeah, it's like the buzz, and again, it's the same in our place. Like everyone's got that excited, nervous, anxious kind of feeling. And like, especially on like the point one to your first workout of the Open, everybody's absolutely bouncing, aren't they?
Yeah, and it's normally like a really accessible event as workout as well, which is really, really good. Like this time was ground to overhead and burpees. It's just brilliant. Like everyone can get stuck in.
I've just seen that you got like 10:23 or something on that one. Which, 10:43 it was.
Something like that, yeah.
Like we did that workout, and I was nowhere near 10:30. I was just happy.
That's one I messed up. To be fair, like I went too hard too early. I think I did the first round, and I did it in like 40 seconds, and it was like, well, that was a mistake. Just fucking hold on now and see what happens.
I think most people went too hard too early on that one.
Yeah, I mean that's cool, isn't it? Because if my coach gave me that in training, I'd just be like, yeah, that's what I did. Just went fucking dead hard and spanked it, and I was just clinging on for dear life at the end.
Yeah, I don't think it matters how you started it as well. Like I think my first round, I was trying to pace it at like a minute a round. I was like, I'll do a minute 10 a round was like the idea. And, like I did my first round, looked up at like 50 seconds, like fuck. I was like, no, I know this is gonna hurt now, and that's it. But like, you just accept it and just go for it, don't you? At the end of the day, something I just
and then you're not going to get fitter you're not going to get fitter by Monday. So, and I'd argue that you're going to take away from your fitness by smashing yourself twice in such a short space of time. Obviously, if you're competing and you're like, if it's like the Elliot Simmons and Zach George, fighting and David Sharunk, like fighting for points at the top, absolutely repeat. But other than that, like if you are trying to get fitter throughout the Open and not just like probably lose fitness, which is what most people do throughout the Open, spanking themselves trying to do these workouts twice, like just do it once, go hard, and then when you retest it in 3 to 6 months, which is when a good, if your aim is to do well in the Open, your coach should be programming for you anyway. do it then and earn the improvement, and don't just game one and think, oh, well, I saw Brent Fikowski do this strategy on Instagram, so I'm going to change my strategy up.
Yeah, because we're all built like Brent Fikowski. Well, yeah.
Well, actually, I am, and it's not that good, actually. The lanky streak of pace in CrossFit isn't great.
It's all right. Josh is built for it, and he still suffers, so it's fine.
Are you going to take that, Josh?
That's as near as he gets to a compliment off me. That's like.
Yeah, you're built like a good CrossFitter. That's the most backhanded CrossFit.
I'm the same height as Matt Fraser. It's got to count for something. It's got to.
Yeah.
So again, one thing I just wanted to bring back to as well. You mentioned it earlier. You started at CrossFit 3D under Danny Watson and Carl Steadman.
Yeah.
Probably a lot of people who listen to this won't know who they are, but they were some of the original level 1 coaches. Is Carl
yeah, I mean that's mental. That's mental. You say that, or they won't know who they are. But, both fantastic coaches. And Danny Watson's still a close friend of mine. I spoke to Carl not long ago. He's up in Aberdeen at the minute. He's been living there for the past 3 years with his family. Carl Steadman, yeah, fantastic coach. And Danny and Carl were both a privilege to learn under. When I originally started, that was absolutely I couldn't have asked for anywhere better to go.
Yeah, it's mental because I literally couldn't think of anyone better to learn the trade under. Do you know what I mean? Just wanted to get your take on what did you take home messages did you get from guys like that when you first started? No, you're a super passionate.
You know what they really help with, as far as coaching cues, recognizing faults, being able to manage a class, your time management, all these things that a good coach can do. These things can be learned, but it's one thing that helped me out was they highlighted early on the main thing is that you care, and a good coach who cares is better than a great coach who doesn't really care. And that's one thing we discussed a lot when I first started coaching. And one thing they said to me was, you're going to be fine, Tom, because you give a shit and you can't teach that.
Yeah.
I know that sounds like a bit of a brag, but it's not really, is it, to say that you care about your members?
You're a nice person is you know what I mean? It can only be a good thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah, most people can be taught to find faults in people's movements and improve them. Most people can do that, but can you connect with people? Can you speak can you speak their language? Can you make them move better whilst making them feel good about it as well, instead of just criticizing them? Yeah. There's loads of little really good things that I learned from them at the start, and looking at coaching that way, coaching the person and not just a fault, or trying to improve the movement, coaching the person was way more valuable. That was a really good thing to learn early on.
Like I say, so it's awesome. I'm jealous that that's the start that you got. You know what I mean? I think that's an awesome place to begin with. Because I wish people had told me stuff like that when I first started coaching. Do you know what I mean? I've learned it probably the hard way through the years, but I think if you've got mentors like that, you're definitely going to be in a great place to start coaching. Speaking of coaching, though, I believe you coach your fiance.
The fiance, wife.
Shit, my bad. Sorry.
We got married last year.
Wow. So you coach your wife. Now, most people, we've actually got a rule at our gym where a coach isn't allowed to coach his missus because it generally turns out badly. How do you manage that?
It's good. She's my favorite athlete,
right?
So it's easy. No, honestly, she's there's no ego with Laura. So she's phenomenal to coach. She's really, really coachable. She just wants to be given work. Right. It's right, what do I do? How high do I jump? What do I need to do to get better? And that's all she wants, is to improve. So yeah, she's an absolute privilege to coach, and it's been a great experience. Sorry?
Was you already a coach once you met Laura?
I wasn't.
You didn't meet when you was coaching, basically.
No. I met her. It's weird. I met her. Well, sorry, I met her years ago at a competition. She was actually with a boyfriend, and I remember being like, "What is she doing with that beta?" And and then eventually she came over to 3D a couple of years, a year or so after that, and I was a coach at that time. Yeah, I was.
Okay, cool, awesome. Like, so I can't get my missus to do anything, no matter what. No, if I say to her, so we've got a good example. Basically, I walked past her once and I was like, she was rowing and she's rowing like a T-Rex. You know what I mean? I was like, just take your time, be patient with it, finish your pull, and she went and she's like, fuck off. Like looked at me.
This comes back to coaching the individual, the individual being your wife,
and
your missus.
Josh went over, said the exact same thing to me. She's like, thanks, Josh. Okay. And I'm like,
yeah.
I was like,
it's your entry, mate. It's your entry. Like, if you can give people the shit sandwich, I found is whether it's your missus, whether it's if you've got an uncoachable member, I found that for most people, if you go in with a compliment, so you go, oh wow, you're rowing really fast today, then with the coaching, and then with something nice on the way out, they might be a bit more receptive to that. And then because you've got to add two layers of bread straight away, because when you walk over, she's like, oh shit, this prick's coming over and I'm dying.
Yeah, that's Emma.
Which one I love as well. So like we do a lot of sort of like coach development in house at the minute. So like developing like coaches for members, and so obviously we teach them how we coach. And then the one that we get is when we're in a class and we're coaching, and we go up to one of the members that's becoming a coach, and we start coaching them, and they turn around and they go, I know what you're doing. Taught me how to do this. Back off. It's like, no, I'm just trying to help, you know. But they already know what you're going for.
That's good.
Thanks for that. It's funny.
Awesome. So, obviously, coach your missus and you survive it, which is impressive in itself. So, might be a related question, but what's your proudest coaching moment? Is there anything out to you?
There's a moment actually from the last open workout. I'll never forget. Laura did. She had our baby Thea in February last year. So I think Thea was, how old is Thea at this point then? Maths. Thea's 8 months old, and in the workout with the 40 muscle ups, wall balls, the rowing, she banged out a set of 6 ring muscle ups at the start of the workout unbroken, which is a massive PB for her. And it just shows like how hard she's worked really in that short space of time. She's absolutely smashed it. She'll do everything I tell her to do.
Thea,
sorry mate,
was that 8 months after giving birth to Thea?
Yeah.
Wow,
that's impressive.
Yeah.
She is impressive, but it's more like it's the work ethic and how hard she tries. And you know, she is sleep deprived as Thea's breastfed, but you know, she's never used that as an excuse ever, and she works hard regardless. And you know, she enjoys that aspect of being a mother and doing all this as well.
Yeah, must be nice because it's like it's extra close to home, and it's like I like seeing my athletes do well just because I know how hard they were. But like when you live with them day in day out, that must be a completely different.
Yeah, and like you know, we make each other better. You know, we make each other go to bed on time and eat right and sleep right, and well as best we can with the baby. Yeah, and you know the chat about training is always a positive. It's always a positive thing. It's always a good aspect of our relationship, because it's an important one. So it has to be really, but it's always positive, and it always makes us better people as well. So.
Cool.
It's awesome.
And I believe you have a coach. Are you coached by Dan as well now?
Dan Conley, yeah.
Yeah. So
I've just finished. I've just done my first year under him. I think
we spoke to Loz yesterday, or the day before. So the podcast went up today. So I'm interested to see how your relationship with Dan differs to her relationship with Dan.
Different. I'm guessing it's different. Really different. I don't give him anywhere near as much shit as Lauren does.
Would you get away with it if you did? Because
I've definitely done, when we were in Ireland, I like doing impressions, did a few impressions of Dad. They went down all right. But I think that's because there was other people around me to protect me. Well, no, yeah, I've been, I feel like I've got loads better under Dan, just because I think we both feel the same way about CrossFit and training, and I really relate to his coaching style and how he wants me to improve and what he wants me to do. And I also understand to a level like why he's giving me certain things. So it fills me with a confidence anyway to go into what I'm doing with 100% effort. And I think that that's really important as with your coach and athlete relationship, is that the athlete really eyes into the coach. And I have with Dan. He's a great bloke. He absolutely loves coaching people and CrossFit. So
yeah, and Lars did say pretty much the same thing. Like he cares no end about his athletes, which is obviously all you can ask for. Like you said earlier on, like you can't teach that in somebody. So
no, you can't, mate. You've got it or you've not.
Yeah, for sure. Do you find that? So I found when I've had different coaches in the past that it changes my coaching style slightly each time. So like at the minute, my coach, when he gives me stuff and when I'm writing things for my athletes, I find myself writing things and like thinking about things differently. Have you found that it changes how you coach now that you're coached by Dan, or is it?
Yeah, I think if you can take the best of what you've learned from other people and apply it, you're doing your athletes a good service there. Like if you found that something works well, like the thing with coaching is you should always like listen to your athlete and what they want to do. So like their version of strength might be gymnastic based, but somebody else's version of strength might be Olympic lifting or powerlifting based. So it's not like, oh, this squat cycle worked really well for me. Like if I give that to everyone or a certain athlete, they might not really care about it. It might not be what. So as long as it fits in with their goals, absolutely. Like if Dan's given me something and it's developed my leg strength to a certain extent, and that's what this athlete wants as well, then I can always give them that.
Yeah.
And I would, because if it works, as long as you monitor your athlete and it works for them, then absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, you got to, and that's it. Like I always think about it. I pay my coach because he knows more than I do, and so when somebody's asking who potentially pays me, like what should I do? I'm like, well, I'm gonna lean on the fact that there's somebody here that knows more than me, and this is where like they've seen this work well for potentially more people than I have. So you know what I mean? Like using stuff that
I think it's just got to be like, it's got to be something that's monitored constantly though. Like, you know, if maybe you're more robust than the person you've also given this, like, you know, progression to, or it might not be enough. You might be underselling them. They might need a bit more than what you've got, you know, just for example's sake. Like, it's just got to be something that's monitored, I think.
No,
but absolutely. Like if it works,
I always start.
There's no point if you it's like, you know, if you've got 10 athletes and you want them all to do something 20-minute based, like aerobic work, there's no point in giving them all different workouts. Like I feel that sometimes a couple of times a week, if you can give everyone the same one workout that's the same, you get more data from that because you can see where everybody else is. You can just like use it as sort of like a guideline. Like I feel like sometimes if so my guys will do like hard CrossFit once a week or maybe twice, depending on where we're at in the year or where they are leading up to competition. And I find that using like qualifiers a really good way to look at that, like to see where their fitness is and what they're lacking or what they're really good at.
Yeah, definitely. I find like, so I might write this, like I use True Coach to deliver to like my
same. It's cool, isn't it?
Yeah, it's really good. And what I tend to do is I'll write the same template they'll start with like, I don't know, a test of squats or whatever, and then I'll get the same template for both people. Then but by the end of their cycle, the two different things look completely different. The two different people will have a completely different endpoint. So
that's great though, because it shows that you've coached the individual and not what you think they should be doing. Do you know what I mean?
Exactly.
You know what I mean? Like, you
like,
obviously it is what you think they should be doing, but I mean, as in like, it's for them, isn't it? It's personal then.
What they need, not necessarily what you want, or so to speak.
Yeah, exactly, definitely. And I think it's a good point for people, any coaches that are listening, or anybody who wants to coach. Like, there's nothing wrong with using a workout that you've seen online, as long as you know why you're using it, and you're not just randomly going, "Oh yeah, have this." You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, absolutely.
Because
that's what CrossFit is, isn't it? It's measurable, repeatable, observable data. So it's, you know, we test Fran because we know what it should feel like, and we can see what, with those two movements and that energy system, we can see what they're lacking and what they need to work on and what they're good at.
Yeah, for sure.
Because you know, you could argue that the amount of qualifiers that come out, there's something that feels or looks like Fran in 50% of them. Thrusters and bloody pull-ups, you know, or thrusters and bar muscle-ups or chest to bars.
Yeah, and you especially certain workouts, you can see, obviously, using Fran as an example, you'll start to see people that, like, okay, like, they're always failing on the squat portion of the movement. They don't squat fast enough. They don't do this fast enough, and that stops them from being in that, like, sort of lactic burning sort of feeling. And you can start to coach around that. One thing that I think is an interesting subject to come on to from that is actually how coaching during lockdown has changed for you. I know you're still super busy, so it's interesting to see what you're see what's changed and how you're managing it, because
it's interesting. Communication wise, I'm definitely talking to my athletes around the same. Coaching wise is a bit weird. I mean, doing these Zoom classes, it's good. I think that we're making a bit more of an impact, because some people come on and they're like, this is literally the best hour of my day, because I'm seeing 5, 10, 12 people who I really like from the gym. It is weird. It's weird times at the minute, but I'm enjoying it. I feel like our community your gym communities can get stronger from this if you're doing things in the right way. You know, if you're a constant positive source in your gym, in your community, then, you know, when we do get back to the gym, we're all going to be a bit closer for it. I feel like the people, the gyms and the gym owners and coaches who've built a strong community and worked really hard before this will feel the benefit now, and the people who haven't will struggle. The gyms will really struggle, and they'll have lots of cancellations.
Yeah, I agree. Like, we were really fortunate in the people that stuck about for us, and the amount of people that stuck about, and that are willing to sort of see it through as long as they possibly can. And I'm sure you guys were the same, because you guys, I say, I've been down 3D and it's always buzzing down there every time I've been. In fact, I remember, this is completely off subject, but I remember me and Josh coming down to 3D and we were doing a workout, and I think you were part of it. It was Filthy 100, wasn't it? It was part of Filthy 50. And I can't remember who you were partnered up with, but you were partnered up with somebody who they were twice the size of me, and like their arms were the size of my legs.
Tank.
That's sounds right. And me and Josh come off the knees to elbows first, and we looked round at everyone. I was like, we've done it wrong. I was like, I looked over and saw you like well behind me, and I'm like, And then I looked over and I saw Danny, but like well behind me, and I was like, oh mate, we've fucked this up. And then next thing you know, we got to the burpees and everyone just sort of like sailed past us. But I remember you thinking about that class afterwards as like I've used that class in like so many templates and sort of like how I think about coaching, because it was just so well ran and structured even back then. I think this is like 4 years ago, but and no doubt you've improved since then. But yeah, like knocking things over. But yeah, like I remember, I always think back to how well those classes were run, and that is sort of like a model of how well we'd like to do things as well. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, that's something I've the past year, especially, like something I've really worked hard on is making my classes like to the best standard possible. I think studying from a level 3 really helped, but even before then, like I really just wanted to run the absolute gold standard of CrossFit classes, because you see so much crap out there on Instagram and Facebook. People's classes and coaching is appalling, and I did never wanted our gym to be tarred with that brush of, like, you know, you see in CrossFit classes, the coach has got the phone and watching, filming people piling on wall balls and whatnot instead of coaching them. And yeah, so it sort of came from like a negative place, but I always wanted our classes to be like, Greg Glassman could walk in and be like, that's bang on. Like that's how I want it to be.
Yeah. Yeah.
And our coaches are doing doing an excellent job. We have coaches development every week, and it's mainly just talking about how you employ yourself in your class, how you are, like the questions you're asking your members, as well as like all the main things like running your class, timing, movement, all that, the stimulus of the workout. Yeah, it's really important to me. It always has been. I've been like a proper Nazi for it.
Yeah, good.
Just want to run the best class every hour.
Now, to be honest, like if I was somebody listening to this and I was like thinking to myself, oh, I want like, should I go down CrossFit 3D? Do you know what I mean? And obviously, we're probably, the people who are listening to this will be people that are already going to our gyms as such. But like, I know that that's one thing that I'd want to hear. Like, I'd want to know that whatever class I'm going to, the coach cares that much that they're going to do the best for me, and
Yeah.
like you say, not having your phone out and not seeing people doing like the typical standing in the corner and just like gazing off into the distance while they're athletes. You know what I mean?
It's the worst. It's the worst. Like, and I just want to give everybody that my absolute focus for an hour, and use every opportunity to improve them and make their day better. Like that's what it's all about. If I can't. I don't know if it's ever happened to you, and it used to happen to me, where I was like, I don't know how to improve this person, or a certain member isn't hitting the standard that they can. Like, I can't walk away from that. I can't walk past it. I can't, I can't just leave it. I have to help. Like, I have to help them out.
Yeah.
And I want to, and I still want to. I want to do that every day, every class, whether it's 6 a.m. on Monday morning or the 7 o'clock on Friday night.
Yeah, we have this chat with our coaches, like, because everyone's got that member that like squats beautifully in the warm up, and then they get into the mid competition, and all of a sudden I say mid competition, mid workout, they're doing quarter squat,
Yeah.
and you're like squat a little bit lower, can you know what I mean, like, and whatever, like you're trying to get them to do it, and we always say to our coaches, like, look, at the end of the day, like, as long as you keep telling them you're doing your job, as long as you're trying your best to get them, like, you're doing your job, and no one will ever be upset with you for that. And
the better that they get at relating to that person and communicating with them, like your missus on the rower, Josh could get through to her, like she responded to him, and that could have been because he said the right thing, or it could have been because it wasn't you, and it could have been anyone. But
guarantee it.
like you just don't know if you give up on them. Like, if you give up on improving them, if you give up on pushing them to the standard that they can be, like, you aren't doing your job.
100%. Love it. I think that's a good message to kind of end on for the main stuff, the main questions that I wanted to ask you about. But we've got some fun questions to finish with. So we'll try and do them a little bit quick fire, see how they go. And we'll basically 4 questions, nice and easy. First one would be your film or book recommendation. Like, number one, what have people got to either read or watch?
my favorite book of all time is called Spartan by Valerio Massimo Manfredi. Sick. It's like one of the first books I read. It's just sick.
Okay, I mean, it's
yeah.
right now.
You boys should have read that book if you've not already.
I know, right? Big Spartan masks everywhere. Cool, excellent. I'll tag that in the show notes. In a film about your life, who would play you?
Someone tall and lanky. No, who's it? Who Phil calls me? James Franco. And that's not because I think I'm nice look. He just says that's who I look like.
Right, okay. He's a good actor. I like it.
He's good.
Chops his arm off in a film, doesn't he? But you probably don't want to go down that.
I don't think. Yeah. Oh yeah. Of course he did. Yeah. Good film.
Okay, cool. You get to write a workout that you're going to beat everyone at. You give either throw some movements at me or give me the workout if you know it.
What is the hero workout, Tom Blay?
Yeah.
It's got to be rowing. What do I like? I like rowing. I like double unders. What else do I like? Chest to bar pull-ups. I wouldn't win it. I like it though. And running. What was it? No. Tell you what, Murph.
Oof.
I like Murph.
You like Murph? Who likes Murph? To be fair, one of the worst, I say worst, but one of the most miserable workouts I ever did was a marathon row followed by Murph.
Oh yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, it wasn't
mad
nice.
Bastard.
It wasn't nice. It was just, you know what the worst bit was? The air squats. Like I did the pull-ups in 5s, and then I got to the air squats and was doing like 3s and 1s.
Well,
and 2s.
Yeah, sorry, caveat to that Murph question. It's basically, the Cindy version.
Right, okay.
The other version is miserable, but the Cindy version is sound.
5, 10, 15. Right,
bit of running, Cindy, and a bit of running in a vest.
I like it. So, last question. This is one that people always trip over. You get to spend 24 hours with somebody, and it can be whoever you want it to be, dead or alive, but you get to learn everything you can from them in that 24 hours. So, who would it be?
Greg Glassman.
Greg Glassman, good answer. I like it. You're the first person to come out with Greg Glassman as well, which impresses me. In considering.
Honestly, I think it's because I've read when I studied from level 3, I've read everything he's ever said. I think
right
before I did my test. So, like, what else does he know? Clever guy.
Yeah. He always comes out with some impressive stuff, doesn't he?
Mate, I think so many people overlook all the information on CrossFit.com and the journal and everything else that he's brought out. Like, it's so overlooked.
It's all, most of it's free as well, which is like even more impressive.
It's all free. It's all free.
Yeah, it's like
and you've got CrossFit coaches nowadays who don't know all the benchmark workouts and they've never read CrossFit.com, and there's an absolute treasure trove of like information that will make you ultimately a better coach.
Yeah, completely agree. I remember, like, obviously I read all the material a while back. I've never actually done my level 2, but I read all the course material for it, and it was like, and it had the Glassman chipper on there. And I basically, before I left my job, I basically read it all on the side of my desk. Just back to back. It's like people come over like, what are you doing today? I'm like, well, I'm going to do the Glassman chipper, and then I might do whatever you want me to do. And like, it was awesome. It's so much good information in there.
I think like if like you're doing, that's great to hear that like you've not done your level 2, but you've done all the research for it. I think that like part of doing like just revising for my level 3 made me a much better coach.
Yeah.
Whether I passed it or not, I developed loads anyway, just because I put the time in to learn what I needed to learn for the exam.
Yeah, definitely. Just having that time each day, week, however you do it, to like look at yourself, evaluate how well you're doing, is like massive. It's like we sit down with our coaches regularly and chat with them about how they think they're doing and what they could do better. It doesn't really matter what I say, as long as they're doing it, they're evaluating themselves. Obviously, I can coach them, make them better, but like reviewing your own work as such is like a big part of just improving in general. So
absolutely. I think I'm of the opinion that if you get to a point and you're like, I don't need to learn anymore, then you failed.
Yeah.
You're currently in a state of failure, because you're never going you're blinded. You're never going to get better. Like there's definitely holes to fill with everybody, myself included.
Yeah, agreed. Nobody's perfect. I mean, I'm sure we're all pretty close, but nobody's. Right, guys. So that was awesome, Tom. Thank you very much for joining us today. And I know we definitely ran a little bit over, but I think there'll be a lot of good information. Especially, I think coaches can take a lot from today's chat.
My pleasure, mate. Thank you. It's been really good. Good to see you both as well.
Yeah, we need to have a proper catch up at some point, and
when we can touch each other and it's all right.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know whether I go as far as to let you touch me, but you know, like
I will anyway. Don't worry.
Thanks, makes me feel better. You'd be the only person touching me. That's for sure. So, again, thank you very much, lad. Don't forget, everybody, to check out our other shows. So we've had some previous shows. If you enjoyed this one today, you'll definitely enjoy the podcast that we did with Trav, which was episode 4, and that's got a lot of coaching points on it as well. Find us on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube. Leave a 5-star review wherever possible if you're on iTunes. And like I say, guys, please check out our previous shows, like, comment, and share, because that's how we get all the information out there. Thanks again to Tom and Josh for joining me today. Peace.